Hey there, everyone, and welcome to Bill's Retro Gaming Show. Well, we are coming up on the end of 2024, the beginning of 2025, and I thought I would do something a little bit fun, something I haven't done in a while, and that is a game room tour. However, I didn't want to make this just another game room tour because, if I'm being quite honest, there really isn't that much in terms of new games and stuff in my game room from the last time I did a tour. Really haven't bought that much stuff for the game room this year. But some of the different decorations and things that I have in there have changed, so I can show some of that off to you guys. So what I thought would be even more fun is to show not just the game room, but some of the toys and collectibles that I've obtained over the years. You can see some of it behind me here. I have another room that's kind of an art studio that I use that's got a bunch of stuff in it. And then, of course, upstairs in the game room, there are some things that I can point out as well. So I thought this would be a lot of fun to show off some of the toys, collectibles, those things along with the game room. Now, this video is probably going to drop either right before the end of the year or right before the beginning of the year. Either way, I want to say Happy New Year to everybody who is watching, and I hope you enjoy this video. Let's start right here, right in my studio, and give you a closer look at some of the stuff that you've seen a lot in my videos, but haven't really had a chance to really see what I've got going on, and that's all the goodies behind me. So let's get started. All right, so starting off the tour, let's look at the shelves right behind me. Like I said, give you guys just kind of a deeper look into things here. And you can see a couple of things here. I am a huge fan of Gunpla and Gundam models. You can see I've got a couple of different ones on here that I've done recently. This one was a lot of fun. This is Unicorn Gundam right there. Got a little Lego Ninjago dude going on in the back there that I put together actually fairly recently. Got Piccolo from Dragon Ball just because I needed a place to put him, and I figured, why not? Behind, you can see a couple of action figures that I've had for years. There's Kraven from Spider-Man, and I've got Joker and Batman from the original 1989 Batman movies. These were figures that came out right around the same time that came out. I want to show off a bunch of figures that I've collected from the late 80s to the early 90s. I used to work in a KB toy store in a local mall by me when I was in high school. And I picked up a bunch of figures and stuff around that time. I've had them in the packaging ever since then. Unfortunately, you can see the Joker's getting a little bit yellow there on the packaging. He's not perfect and all, but I have had these forever. You can even see if I can zoom in a little bit. You can even see the KB Toys sticker on there for $5 back in, like I said, 89. Yes, that's how much you could get an action figure for back then. Now these things are like $20 brand new when you pick up these action figures on a low end for some of this stuff. But and I don't know what they go for now. I haven't actually checked pricing on these in quite a while, but just a little place to show those off. Moving one shelf down, got some of my comics and graphic novels on the shelf here. I was a huge comic book collector for years. I started collecting in the late 70s, early 80s, up until really about maybe 10 years ago. I kind of stopped. My collection had been sitting. Unfortunately, from moving and from different things, it wasn't kept in the greatest care. I really wish I had taken better care of it. So a couple of years ago, I decided to just sell it off altogether. Got a few $1,000s for it. Was hoping for more, but you know, it was what it was. But it was enough to really kick off this new home arcade hobby and put money into fixing up my game room, painting it, doing the floor, buying some of my first few machines and things like that. So that's really how I kicked off this hobby, by selling off my original comic book collection. But
you know, there's always those stories that you really love kind of going back to from time to time. So I've started collecting some trade paperbacks and graphic novels and stuff so I can have some of the stories that I really like to read from time to time without having to have a whole big collection. I have a lot more that I want to get. This is just the start. Now, on the two shelves below that are going to be my New Wave Toys collection. Some of these I have picked up myself over the last couple of years. Some of these were actually sent to me by New Wave Toys for review. You know, I've always been very honest and open about that. But again, a couple of these I actually bought myself. A couple of these were sent to me. But I really do like them. And very recently, actually within the last couple of weeks, I decided to add a little something to this. You can see the mats here. These are the little like almost mouse pad type mats that they sell. And I've also gotten, you know, one of the little posters here and put up this black light right over it. And hopefully it comes out all right in the video here. You can see how it really kind of adds to the aesthetic of where the New Wave Toys are with the black light. It's too bad it's not really coming across right now, but when he's not on there, Zoltar's little crystal ball there really kind of shines in the black light as well. I'm moving below that, a couple more of my New Wave Toys and my GRS Build-A-Cade, which I believe is still on sale for 50% off. If you check out Thunderstick Studios, 50% off on the Build-A-Cade. Got to throw that in for Glenn to fulfill my contractual obligations. But anyway, again, I've got the mats here. I've got the black light and another one of the posters going on. And in the corner here, to be a little bit festive for the holidays, I've got my Lego Christmas tree. Some of you may have seen that I did a series of shorts throughout December, putting this together piece by piece throughout the month. I hope you guys did get a chance to check out those YouTube shorts. I hope you guys did enjoy them. But this is the full finished Christmas tree lit up. And I thought it would be fun to just put it next to some of the New Wave Toys right here. So moving on, I've got a bunch of shelves set up in my studio here right behind me. Got a bunch of little toys and different things that I've collected over the years. You can see some different anime figures here like Kirito and Asuna from Sword Art Online, one of my favorite animes. Got Luffy in the back from One Piece. Got Pikachu hanging out in the front here. And then just a bunch of smaller little mini figures. Some of these actually came from packaging for the DC videos and Blu-rays that were put out. They were in packages like this. These guys right here, Batman and Joker, came from the Dark Knight Returns movie when it came out, the animated movie when it came out. Some of these things are actually from a series that I was collecting for a while, a company called Loot Crate, which is one of those monthly blind boxes that they would send you that has a bunch of different toys and t-shirts and all kinds of stuff in it. A lot of the stuff that I have in my collection actually came from the year or two that I was doing the monthly loot crates. The shelf below that is the start of my Funko Pop collection. I've got a ton of Funko Pops. I really love these figures. They are so fun, so cool to collect. You can see a bunch of different ones here. I've got my Pac-Man mug that I think I picked up at Five Below one year. Got my Dalek here, which is, and the TARDIS in the back. You can see, you're going to see that I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. I got a ton of Doctor Who collectibles that I will show off as well. This is one of my favorites in the back here. This is a kind of anime version of Starbuck from the Battlestar Galactica series. This actually comes from Sideshow Collectibles. If any of you guys know them, they do some really cool stuff. So this was a fun one to pick up. Just got a couple of little things below that. You could see Link from the Zelda series. I've got my Bill's Retro Gaming Show mug with my old logo on it. I actually sell ones now with the new logo. I got to update that and get the new logo one. But just a couple other things on here as well. Oh, and really quick, in the back here, you see these couple of switches. These are the switches for the black lights above the New Wave toy. So I kind of put them there out of the way, or I can switch them on and off whenever I want. And I think that works pretty well. All right, and the shelving below that, you can see I've just got a bunch of different things here. This is just a neat and convenient way to store some stuff, wiring and different stuff. You could see I've got my Ikari Warrior stick on the shelf there, again from GRS. I've got my brand new MetaQuest 3S sitting on the shelf. My MetaQuest 2 used to sit here. Now the 3S is sitting there, ready to play whenever I want. And just again, from a couple of things from New Wave Toys, I've got my Change Machine charger out of the way there. I've got the Street Fighter stick. Even though I don't have the Street Fighter one, the stick, you can actually use that for some of the others if you want, and different things. And it's a convenient place to have that charger to just plug things in, like the MetaQuest when I want it to charge, and things like that. And of course, sitting on the chair behind me is Pikachu and Grogu. Grogu is sporting his little Santa hat in time for the holiday festivities. And these guys just kind of sit behind me and watch me as I work. And that's not creepy at all. All right, and then of course we have these shelves behind me here. Now, this was actually a window at one point because the studio, my home office / studio that I work in, is actually in an add-on enclosed porch to my house. This was something that was added on to the house after it was originally built. So this used to be a window looking outside before the porch was here. And then we had the kitchen redone a few years ago. So the window got taken out, and I figured I might as well just turn it into shelving to house some of my stuff here. Again, you're going to see a ton of Funko Pops here. But again, some of these are anime figures that I've picked up at conventions. Some of these are, again, from Loot Crate. But hopefully you get kind of a good idea of some of the different things that I've collected over the years. I know some of the pops in the back, it's a little hard to see, but that's why I have them on these little stairs like this to make it a little bit easier to see the ones behind. And then finally, the bottom row here, again, just a bunch of other little figures and different things. All right, so now we're going to check out another room in my house. And you can see I've got my sign on here for Bill's Art Studio. This room was actually a little bedroom for a number of years. This was my youngest daughter's bedroom. She's now moved up to my oldest daughter's bedroom, who is married and out of the house. So a few years ago, I turned this into a place where I could work on models and miniature painting and things like that. I'll show you guys a little bit of that as we go in. Let's check it out. All right, so this room is a little bit of a mess just because I do spend a lot of time in here working on different things, and I've got crap all over the place. I cleaned it up a little bit for you guys, so I hope you appreciate that. But one of the first things I want to show off, again, I did say what a huge Doctor Who fan I am. You can see a couple of other collectibles and figures there, and my DVD collection, which is, I think, almost the entire run of what is available from the show. For those of you who know anything about Doctor Who, you might know that some of the original episodes from the 60s and even the early 70s were wiped by the BBC, so they're no longer available. One of the things they've been doing is actually using some of the audio from those and making animated versions of those shows so that people who've never had a chance to see them can see them. But I've even gone on to start collecting the seasons on Blu-ray. Again, you can kind of see it all there, and more Funko Pops. These are some of the Doctor Who specific ones going on in my collection right here. And before I show you some of my fun collectibles in this room, I will show you my mess of a desk area. Again, this is where I do a lot of my model building, figure painting. This is a guy that I am just starting to work on now. This is from a company called Loot Studios, different from Loot Crate. Loot Studios does different fantasy and sci-fi STLs that you can print and then paint yourself. So this guy's been primed, he's been dry brushed and ready to get some paint on him. So that's going to be the next step for this guy. You could see, whoops, let's not break anything. You could see a bunch of my paints and stuff all behind me. I am a big fan of a company called Army Painter. They make some really cool paints. They work really well for what I like to do. And yeah, so this is my little mess of a desk for painting and making miniatures. So off to the side, this is one of my 3D printers. This is my resin printer. I've also got an FDM printer as well, but the resin one works really great for printing miniatures. You can get some really great detail out of it, and it's a lot of fun. Of course, in here, I've got more shelves with more goodies on it. You can see I've got a bunch of models that I have not put together yet. Some Gundam, got one of the ships from One Piece, got a couple of Star Wars ones, and I just picked up even more this past Comic-Con that aren't on the shelf here. So I've got quite a backlog of models to put together. You could see, again, here's a couple more models that I put together. Those two Gundams I put together years ago. Yeah, a few more Doctor Who figures and things like that as well. Oh, and that pretty lady off to the right there is my beautiful wife. That is actually her high school photo. So yeah, I keep it in my studio. All right, so back to collectibles and different things. This is an area I've got here. You could see even more paints on here, on the wall here. These holders, I actually 3D printed. That's my other printer, the FDM one. It uses a plastic that gets melted and then shaped in order to make different things. It's not great for highly detailed things, but it works fantastic for stuff like this. So it worked out really well as something to put the paints on. You see, I got my practice nunchuck and my size hanging up there too. And then moving down below, this is where, again, we see some more collectibles and different things. Some of these are things that I've put together. Got the Doctor Who collection from Lego Dimensions. That was a game from a couple of years ago. I think maybe some of you guys remember Lego Dimensions. I picked up all the Doctor Who ones. And even though the game is kind of defunct and I don't really play it anymore, I do like the figurines, so I held on to them. Got a TIE Fighter and the Razor Crest that I put together recently. A couple of Warhammer figures that I painted. I don't really play the game, but I think the figures are really cool looking. So I got a couple of those and painted them. See a couple of anime figures in the back. And then again, these are some more that I painted pretty recently. These are, again, ones that were 3D printed and then painted. These are in a 75 millimeter. That company, Loot Studio, that makes these, they do 28 millimeter for tabletop gaming, and then 75 millimeter is more for display purposes. I like the bigger ones for painting purposes. And then a couple of little minis right here. These are ones that I had for years. These are actual metal D&D figures that I finally broke out and recently painted. Moving down, we got more collectible figures and things. We got the two Gundams in the back that I put together a while back. We got Shenrong and Goku from Dragon Ball. A couple more Funko Pops. We've got a little collection here from Inuyasha and from one of the greatest animes of all time, Gatchaman, which I know a lot of you probably remember as Battle of the Planets. A few more anime figures on the bottom here, and then behind that are some of my Spawn figures. Again, these were picked up years ago when I worked in a toy store, and I've just been holding on to them ever since. Next to that, we got a few more Spawn figures and Chainsaw Man. Here we have a figure from Fallout. We've got little younger Goku from Dragon Ball. We got Ichigo from Bleach. We've got a Pokemon here, and this is another model that I bought a couple of years ago for Voltron. I've just got them in their lion form right now, but you can actually play with these and put them together to form Voltron. This was a really cool model that I bought a couple of years ago. I had a lot of fun putting this together, and it's cool to take this every once in a while and put them all together to form Voltron. A couple more figures here. Again, another Gundam. I see a lot of Gundam in my collection for sure. And I got Eddie from Iron Maiden and Freddie from Queen, two of my favorite bands. And then here's a couple of other little miniatures. Again, some of these were 3D printed and painted. And in the back, I've got some DC superhero ones as well. Ooh, looks like one of them might have fallen over. I'm gonna have to fix that. So one thing I did, which I thought would be a neat way to display some of my action figures that I still have in the packaging, was buy a couple of cork boards and hang them on the wall. Again, all of these are going to go back to my time at KB, late 80s, early 90s. I've got some of the New Mutant figures, Catwoman and Robin from Batman, some different Marvel figures below that. Next to that, a bunch more X-Men figures here. Got Ghost Rider, got Spartan from Wildcats as well. And then yet more Doctor Who figures. Again, these are some of the oldest ones that I have going back to the late 80s, early 90s. And Star Trek, The Next Generation. I think I have almost the entire first run of the Next Generation figures that came out. I think I might be missing one. I don't remember which one it is off the top of my head, but I do remember trying to get the entire run when they first came out. So that's what these guys are. Now, lastly, in this studio office, I've got this little glass shelf unit that I will show off that's got yet more figures on it. And one thing, of course, you can see here is I've got one of these little suitcase record players, because every once in a while when I'm in here and I'm working on stuff, I like to throw a vinyl record on and listen to that while I'm working. I've got a bunch of records, some of which I've had since I was a kid, some of which I picked up recently because I kind of got back into getting and collecting vinyl. But again, you can see it's a couple more figures there. And then moving down, a few more. I got more anime figures here. I got a couple of models that I've put together, including R2 and BB-8, and the Going Merry from One Piece. More anime figures, and then a little room for a few more things. This is actually my record cleaner that I have right off to the side here, but all by her lonesome just for now is Sailor Moon. All right, so finally now we're actually going to get to the game room itself. Many of you probably have seen my game room tours before, so a lot of this is going to be very familiar to you. For those of you who haven't seen one of my game room tours before, now you'll get an opportunity to see some of the stuff that I have in here, including this little mini toy, very toyish foosball table that I bought at Five Below for like 20, 25 bucks, whatever it is. Not even sure if this is going to stay here, but for now it's kind of fun. Moving on, you can see my Pong pub table over here. And in the corner, I've got my little arcade Christmas tree that I picked up recently, just threw some lights on. Hopefully next year I'll decorate it a little bit more. I want to get some gaming related ornaments and stuff to put on it. It is sitting on a Star Wars popcorn tin that I got a year or so ago. So that's kind of fits. That's kind of cool. But that's my little arcade Christmas tree. Over in the side here, I've got my my Bartesian and my coffee machine. This is my little drink maker and bar cart going on right here. But one of the newest things that I just picked this up at Comic-Con this year, is my Deadpool and Wolverine poster, which I think that's a really cool spot for it. Over on the side, I've got my two Partycades, Super Pac-Man and Defender. Love that Defender Partycade. That thing is so cool, so much fun. Of course, you can see over in the corner here too, I've also got my little mini New Wave Toys Coke machine with the little Coke bear sitting on top. That might be new. I don't know if I've shown that off before or not, but this is a little Funko Pop Coca-Cola bear. So he's sitting on top of the Coke machine. Got the real mini fridge underneath, and then couple of new things here in terms of toys and collectibles that I just picked up recently. We got Ryu and Chun-Li from Street Fighter with almost like a little Street Fighter diorama going on here. Ryu I picked up at a toy store down in the city over the summer. Chun-Li was a Comic-Con exclusive that I picked up this year. She came with this little backdrop here, so I thought putting the two of them up against each other would look kind of cool. Next to that, I've got my NES sitting here, and then a couple of other different Funko Pop figures and things. We've got, I think this is Bill from Contra. I think that's the one I wound up picking up, which is appropriate. So that's Bill from Contra. And we got a couple more figures here, including Dig Dug, Mega Man, and Raiden. Got a little chess set for anybody who wants to play some chess when in the game room. Got Pac-Man sitting off to the side here, and a few other things. This is actually really cool. I got this at a White Elephant party for Christmas. This is the dice game, I guess you would say, Yahtzee, but it's in this cool bookshelf style collectible. There's a company that makes these, and they make a bunch of different games in this format, so it looks like it should sit on a bookshelf. Chess, checkers, Clue, Scrabble. I definitely want to pick up some of these because these are kind of fun to just have, again, in the game room, or when my family likes to have like board game nights and play different games to pull something out. It makes for a cool display collectible. So yeah, I'm gonna wind up picking up more of those, I think. Continuing on a little bit in the game room, you can see I've got things decorated at least a little for the holidays. Got some garland and some lights on the chimney there. Got my air hockey table right there. This was something I wound up getting around Christmas time last year. A lot of fun to have an air hockey table in the game room. All right, so just showing off one wall in the game room here. You can see this is where I have my TV set up. I've got my Gamer Pro set up, and I'll zoom in on that in just a minute. But you can see just some of the newer decorations. I think I've shown that off before. I've got my Dark Crystal poster, which is a blacklight poster, which is why there's the blacklight strip above there. I've got a poster from Iron Man 3. Not the greatest Iron Man movie, but I got the poster, so I put it up there. Couple of new things that I got from Comic-Con from sitting in on some panels is a poster for the show Secret Levels that's on Amazon Prime, and for the new Lord of the Rings animated movie that just came out, The War of Rohirrim. They gave you this huge banner. So I figured I might as well put that up there as well. My Super Mario poster, which changes as you move. I've shown that off before. And the boxes for a couple of the New Wave toys. I like showing off the boxes in the game room because I think the boxes look really cool too. There's a new tin sign that I just picked up at a local gaming store. You can see it kind of just has all kinds of different gaming franchises on it. I think that's pretty cool. I got another tin sign that I'll show off in a minute. Of course, I got these little display shelves on either side of the TV as well. I know I've shown these off before. Again, more Funko Pops and stuff in here. There might be a couple of new ones since the last game room tour. This was a guy that I 3D printed and painted recently. He was supposed to be done for Halloween, but unfortunately I got him done a little closer to Thanksgiving. So I think more of a Nightmare Before Christmas vibe than an actual Halloween vibe at that point. But I was really excited with how he came out. He is pretty cool. And then again, more Funko Pops. And down here are my collectible Star Trek plates. On the other side, more of the New Wave toys. Boxes on display and some little mini Funko Pops. This was from, I think, 2 years ago from an advent calendar that I did where each day had a little Funko Pop in it. Some little Disney collectibles. These are actually my wife's collectibles, but we have them up here just because it's a good place to display them. And then more of the Star Trek plates. Finally, below that is a bunch of the cartridges and things that I've been collecting over the last year or so for NES. Got a couple of Super Nintendo ones, some Atari, and ColecoVision, because I've got the means to play all of those right now. So I've been collecting a little bit here and there. I've got one of those NES cartridges that's a multi-game cart. So this is a lot of fun to plug in and play. I want to get one for the Super NES as well so that I can have that to play too. Now, just to show off, probably one of the only new things really added to the game room this year is this. Now, not this. This is my Gamer Pro from @Games. I've had this for a couple of years, but I recently picked up this. This is the Retro Shooter system with the Pandora's Box console on it. I bought this right around the time, right before they stopped selling the console altogether, but just after they announced that there weren't going to be any games included with it. So it was basically just an empty console. I did get the opportunity to download the games that would have normally come with it anyway. So this is set up the same way it would have been from the years where they were selling the Pandora's Box with all the games on it. But this is on here now, and this is set up. This is one of the few things new that has been added to the game room this year. So looking at more of the games and more of the decorations here. Of course, I've got a couple of different posters, including the original Star Wars trilogy, the best of the Star Wars movies. Of course, I've got my Legends Pinball HD, my Star Wars Arcade 1-Up, Tempest, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Now, sitting next to the Legends HD is this light with these little shells underneath it, and I've got a couple of things on here, including an Amazon Echo, little Funko Pop Slurpee, which I thought was kind of cute looking, so I wanted to pick this up. And then this is one of the newest figures that I picked up recently. For those of you X-Men fans, this is Dark Phoenix, but she's done in a anime Bishoujo style, which I think looks really, really cool. So this is a fun little figure to have. And then this is the other light in the corner. You can see here I've got a couple of little Tron figurines there, one Funko Pop and one figurine. And then below that, we've got Assassin's Creed, again, a Funko Pop and a different figurine, and a little table just because it's a good spot for it. And I got my Sinden light gun there, which I use with my iArcade. Of course, speaking of iArcades, you can see that right there all the way to the left next to my Class of 81, my Street Fighter Deluxe, and my Mortal Kombat 2 Deluxe. Now, again, one of the newest things that I have done this year is add the GRS control panel and the GRS KVM switcher to my iArcade. So I play a lot more on the Viper and the arcade side right now than I do on the iArcade, but it is fun to have. It's one of the newest things that I've added to the gaming system here, really turning my iArcade into much more of an all-around multicade, as opposed to the arcade 1-ups that I have, which only have, anywhere from 10 to 14 games on them. Of course, to finish things off, I will talk about what I've got going on above the games here. This is another one of those tin signs that I just picked up recently, the Space Invaders, because I thought it would work really well right next to the iArcade Space Invaders, my game room sign, and my collection of Keyblades from Kingdom Hearts above there. And of course, the Master Sword and Shield from Zelda. And there's the OG Keyblade as well. So I did pick up another set of swords this past year at Comic-Con. These are Kirito's swords from Sword Art Online. Again, one of my favorite animes. I really do love that one. I haven't decided where these are going to get hung, or if these are going to get hung, or if I'm just going to kind of hold on to them for something. But These are designed for cosplay. They're a very hard foam sword. That's what the keyblades and the other swords that I have are. Although I do have a couple of real-ish swords. They're still the display swords, but they are actually actual steel that I have away in a closet. Maybe someday I'll break those out and I'll find a way to display those as well. But you know what? I'll save that for another time. But there you go. That is a look at my game room, my toy collection, and everything.
All right, everyone. So there you go. That is a look at my game room, a look at my art studio, even, and a bunch of the toys and collectibles that I've been collecting over the years. I mean, some of which dates back to when I was in high school, even. That's how long I've been holding on to some of this stuff. But I hope you guys had fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope maybe you saw something that you thought was really neat, really cool. Maybe something you have, maybe something you had at one point that you don't anymore. I don't know. But why don't you leave me some comments below and let me know what you thought of my collectibles. Even if you just want to say, what a nerd, because let's face it, aren't we all anyway? But anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy it. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all of you. Happy New Year. Hope 2025 is a great year for all of us. I am very much looking forward to continuing on doing this into the next year, putting out videos and spending time with all of you. But that's going to do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave me a like, leave me a thumbs up, leave me some comments below. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and do that as well. And of course, if you would like to support the channel even further, you could consider purchasing a membership. But that is all again for this one, and I will see you guys on the next one and into the new year. Take care and happy gaming.